This is video number 14 in the series How to Stay Mentally Healthy in a Crazy World. And today we are going to talk about ambition and how it can help us to become more mentally healthy and how it can hinder us. So let's dive into it. Ambition. First, we're going to talk about 4 risks that you have when you are very ambitious, when you choose for ambitions and go for it. And the first one is the risk of rejection. Then we are going to talk about the risk of fixing. The risk of postponing is next. And the last one is the risk of isolation. And if you have seen all the risks, you think ambition is a bad thing, but it's not. It has some very nice benefits, and we're going to talk about them as well, of course. Then, like always, we talk about how to deal with it, and we end with a conclusion. So let's go to the first risk, the risk of rejection. Because what are you doing when you choose for an ambition? Then you choose for a bright future, because the ambition is always in the future. And that means that the present is different from that future, because the ambition is in your mind and you think, I want to reach that goal. I want to be rich, I want to be famous, I want to be in nature, I want to be helping other people more. It's always more or better, whatever, but it's always an ambition that's better. I don't meet many people who have the ambition to become less successful or more poor or whatever. It's normally it's something that is nicer and better than the situation is now. And that means that the present is different from the future, and the need to change is obvious. And in your mind, because the ambition is in your mind, it means that the mind will differentiate between the future and the present more and more to make it more clear for you what you have to do. So if the future situation is almost the same as the present situation, then nothing will happen. So the mind will make a clear difference. And because you want to go to that bright future, the mind will say the present is wrong. And because you want to leave the present situation and you want to go to the other one. So the present is wrong, and that means that the present is also rejected. And then the struggle starts, because if you are rejecting the present, it's not very good for your mental health, because then you're in a situation that's bad. And it's not necessary at all, because if you have an ambition, it doesn't mean that the present situation is bad. And it's also not a good idea to make the present, to reject that present, because if you don't accept the present, you can't change it. So that's also something. If you and that's very obvious when you're doing change management and things like that. If you want to change something, first you have to accept the reality that it's there now. And if you reject it, then it's almost impossible to change it. So it's not a good idea to reject the present, and that's a real risk when you have an ambition. So you have to take notice of that. The next one is the risk of fixing. Because we all know, if you want to be ambitious, the goals that you set for yourself have to be smart. They have to be specific, they have to be measurable, they have to be acceptable, they have to be realistic, and they have to be time driven. But that means that the goal in the future is so specific and so clearly set into time that you have the risk that it becomes fixed. And if that goal is really fixed, then everything that's not in line with that goal is something that's wrong. Then you're getting in a situation where every surprise, everything that's different, everything that's surprising is wrong because you want to go to that goal. And if you do that too much, you become trapped in a funnel. And in fact, only all the things that are going towards your goal will be okay, and the rest will be wrong. And that's no fun at all because in real life, most of the things that will happen won't exactly be in line with your goal. And that's not bad at all because if you are able to unfix that ambition, then it's a lot stronger and it's a lot more fun. So, to be successful, it's important that you make your goals smart, but to stay happy, it's a good idea to uh, be flexible in it because otherwise uh, you will get into the funnel. Another risk is the risk of postponing, and that's really a big one because if you have a nice ambition for the future, especially when it's quite far away, then you have a bright future that's very far away. And if everything is fixed, your whole mind is fixed on the future, then the present doesn't matter anymore. And that means that you are paying the price now to get a reward in the end. And if your ambition, if your goal is in the near future, it's not that bad because then you maybe a couple of weeks suffering and you have the reward for the next year, and then it's in balance. But if you have to suffer for a long time to get a short reward, then it's not worth it. And it happens a lot. I see it in project organizations, there it's really in companies where people work for 1 or 1.5 years very, very hard for a project, and it's suffering, it's struggling, it's fighting. And after that, the project is finished, they celebrate for a week, and they suffer again for the next project for a year, 1.5 year again. And then you think, maybe that's not really in balance. And it's the same if you work for your pension, if you work 40 years to have enough money to have a pension, and the pension is only 10 years or maybe even one, then it's not really in balance. And the worst thing, of course, is that you suffer your whole life because you think you have a reward after life. And then you're postponing your life. In fact, then you say, my life now is not really worth living. It only starts when I reach my ambition, when I reach my goal. And that's really not very good for staying happy and for your mental health. So it's not a wise idea to do that. The last risk is the risk of isolation because it's your ambition. And that's important to realize that other people have other ambitions. And if you are too fanatic about your ambition, then other people, they will be an ally if they help you with your ambition, or an enemy if they are not helping you with the ambition. So the people will become a help, so a resource or an obstacle. And if you see people as an obstacle or a resource, then you don't see them anymore as human beings because you only see them in relationship with your goal. And of course, people are a lot more than only help or an obstacle for your goal. They are human beings and you can connect with them. And if you do that too much, if you fix too much on your ambition, then you won't experience the connection anymore with other human beings. And that will be on both sides. So you will get less helpers and more obstacles, and then you feel isolated. I had the experience when I was a project manager in my work many years ago that I saw the goal of the project was fixed and holy. That we had to go there. So people, when they didn't work along with me, I saw them as an obstacle, and I tried to get around it or get them out of the way or whatever, but I didn't see them anymore as human beings. And that meant that I lost the connection with them and that I was quite unhappy because it was not a nice job at all. And after that, I did the same thing, but I gave training and coaching. And then the people were no obstacles anymore because they were my working field. So I didn't have the ambition for the goal of a project. My ambition was to teach people and to help them. And then the everything changed immediately. And then I realized how much my mind was tricking me with the ambition. So if you fix your ambition, if you take your ambition too seriously, then you miss the whole point of the connection with other human beings. So then you have the risk of isolation, and that's really very bad for your mental health. But there are also benefits. And if you don't have any ambition at all, then it also have you're missing things. So what are those benefits? The first one is free joy, because if you have the ambition for something that's very nice, you can already in your mind imagine that you're there. And I do that a lot with my trips. So if I imagine that I'm in a tropical country and I see all the beautiful animals there, I use the internet to see what's there, and I'm already enjoying it before I get there. And lots of people say, don't do that too much because you will get disappointed when you're there, or you will be disappointed when you can't get there because the trip is cancelled or something. And I always say it's the joy now is already there, so it's better to have months of free joy and then have one disappointment than to don't have any free joy at all. So that's quite a nice benefit. Another benefit is that if you're ambitious, then you have a lot bigger chance that you have success, because all the successful people are quite ambitious. They know what they want and they go for it, and that's the way to get success. And success can be quite good for your mental health. But it's also important to realize that success and happiness are two completely different things. So I know a lot of people who are very successful and not happy at all, and vice versa. So it's not a wise idea to mix them up, but there's nothing wrong with success. So, and if you are ambitious, it will help getting success. So that's important. But maybe more important, even if you choose an ambition that is shared with other people, it can be very unifying. And that ambition can be anything. So if you have the ambition to save the world, or to save the butterflies in the Netherlands, and other people have the same ambition, then you feel connected to those people. And that makes it stronger, and it makes you happy. It makes you mental healthy because you don't feel lonely, you feel unified with other people. And we saw on the 4 A poles that the connection, to experience the connection with other human beings, is very important. So being ambitious in that and having a shared ambition helps a lot in feeling that connection. And maybe even the most important thing is the benefit of movement. Because if you have an ambition, then you start moving. You start moving towards your goal. But it's not important that you start moving towards your goal, it's important that you start moving. Because movement is a part of life. So when you are moving, then you will get to know new people, new circumstances, new things. You will get off the couch, not behind your computer anymore. You will go out in the world, you will have to move, and that means that you will meet new situations and that you will enjoy life more because you have new experiences, and movement is one of the most important things in life. It's you feel connected to all living things because you're moving. So ambitions are very nice to become able to move. When you're stuck in a situation and you're not inspired and you don't do anything at all and you feel unhappy, then an ambition, whatever ambition, can help you to go out of there. And it doesn't mind what ambition you have there. It's about the movement, not about the direction. But if you feel perfectly happy with doing nothing, then an ambition doesn't add too much. So let's see how to deal with it. The first thing is to be aware. Like most of the subjects we talked about, it's important to be aware. Because if you are just choosing your ambitions because people tell you to do that, it's important, everybody has ambitions, so you have to have them too, and you choose them not carefully enough, then maybe you will go in the trap of fixing it and to be too fanatic about that ambition, and then it will be bad for your mental health. So it's important to choose carefully. So when you are choosing, that you already think about why am I having this ambition? Is it to move, to unify, to have free joy before, or to have success? Why I am choosing it, and also to think about the risks and how to deal with them. And if you choose your ambition carefully, it's okay. And also, don't choose it too carefully, because if you spend a lot of time choosing your ambition, maybe you think this is the right ambition, and it doesn't matter that much, because if you are not able to change between ambitions, then you're fixing it. So it's a complicated process, but if you don't take it too seriously, but choose carefully, then it's okay. And if you have chosen an ambition, then it's very important to test the process. Because in the first steps you make, it's important that you enjoy it. Because if you don't enjoy it, then there's something wrong with your ambition. Because then you're moving, but you're not moving in the way that you want to move. So even if you have to suffer because you have to do administration to get to your goal, then if you don't enjoy it, then you don't feel connected to the goal you want to reach, and that means that there's something wrong. Then it's really bad for your mental health. If you do something that you don't like, but you enjoy it anyway because you know you're making steps in the right direction, then it's okay. And that's testing the process. And of course, it's important to avoid the risks. If you know the risk, and we talked about it, then you can avoid them consciously. And to add on that, it's very important to check your connections. Because if you're ambitious, your mind tends to take over. And so it's very important to go back to your deeper layers and have the connections with the four hate poles, the connection with the universe, spiritual one, the connection with nature, the connection with other human beings, and the connection with yourself. And if you check them regularly, then you also are able to avoid the risks of the ambition and to get the benefits out of them. And if you have the ambition and you have checked the process, just let go. And don't take your ambition too seriously. If you are completely aware that it's the road that's most important and not the result, then you're on the right track. And you can enjoy making that progress or making that movement and enjoy the path you've chosen. So what's the conclusion? Ambitions are okay. They are okay. They have nice benefits, but they are risky because you have the risk of isolation, you have the risk of postponing, you have the risk of fixing it, and you have the risk that you reject the present. So that's not a good idea. So if you choose ambitions, you have to do it in the right way. It's good for movement, and that's important to realize that your ambitions keep you moving, and it's about the movement itself. It's not about where you're going to or the end result. It's about moving, and that's what makes it work in a nice way. So the process is key. It's not about the result. If you don't get your ambitions and had a good time, who cares? And if you're spending your whole life having ambitions that you will never reach, but you're learning a lot, you're meeting other people, you stay connected with all the 4 poles, then it will be very good for your mental health. And if you are going for an ambition the whole life and you don't feel the connection anymore and you get the success of having that ambition, you will have a miserable life anyway. So your mental health won't be helped by reaching the ambition, it will be helped by moving towards whatever. So it's important to keep feeling, to keep your mind in control, because your mind will be set a goal and will go for that. So all the risks, in fact, are in the mind. If you go to the deeper layers, you can manage those risks. And it's very, very, very important that giving up is always an option. So if it doesn't feel right and you've worked for an ambition the whole time, but it doesn't feel right anymore, just give it up, because you realize that the ambition is only an excuse of moving. So if you have another one, it's okay, as long as you keep on moving and you keep feeling all the connections, you will be mentally healthy. So that was the story for today. Thank you very much and see you next time.